This is Boomer Life on CL650.
And welcome back to Boomer Life on CL650. I'm Joanne Sutton, and today we're talking about the dementia journey and Alzheimer's disease. Maria Howard is the CEO of the Alzheimer's Society of BC. She's sitting in the studio with us today. And we have two more guests that are joining us on the telephone. We have Linda and Paul Blanchette from Kamloops. Hello, Kamloops, and thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Vancouver.
Our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
Excellent. You both sound like you're in good spirits. Now, Linda and Paul, I just want you to tell us a little bit about yourselves, a little bit about your experience with dementia, and how you came to be connected with the Alzheimer's Society of BC. So maybe who wants to start?
Maybe, Linda, why don't you start about just the early days when we were diagnosed?
The early days. We knew something was odd because I lived in Kamloops my whole life, and I'd walk up to people, but I could remember, I never forget a face, but I couldn't remember the name that would go with it. And so it just got to be really awkward being here, and
yeah, there was some other behavior that was unusual. Linda
couple of car
had
accidents.
a couple of car accidents that wasn't normal, and just some anxiety that she had that was abnormal, and we started working with the doctor here to address those changes. We thought it was menopause. Linda's 56, so that was the first part. And as we went down the path, over the course probably of, I'd say, half a year and more, narrowing down in the last part of I think 2012, the doctors started thinking it was something more than other things and drug imbalances and everything like that. And that's when we went to a specialist, and Linda did some tests, and we had the diagnosis. It was quite a shock.
Does anybody else in your families have Alzheimer's disease or dementia?
Well, my dad, they never diagnosed him because he died when he was, what?
He was 90.
He was 90 when he died. And, of course, so he was really, really young, but he had all the same symptoms that I did. And I'm sure that if they knew about Alzheimer's when he was sick with this, I'm sure that he would have had it.
Yeah, they didn't explore it too deeply with him. He was quite old, and he had symptoms, but no one else. There was none others, and we did do a profiling with the geneticist in Vancouver, and it's not. Most people think it's genetic, but in Linda's case, it's not. So we're comfortable that it's unlikely our children will get a genetic version of the disease.
Yeah.
So as a young, active, energetic couple in your 50s, and you receive a diagnosis like this, it must have just stopped you in your tracks.
Well, yes, it certainly did.
Yes, it did, but it explained a lot of things. So
yeah, that's for sure, Linda. It did explain a lot of things, but it certainly stopped us in our tracks because we, like the rest of most of the population, kind of heard about it loosely and did not understand exactly what the disease was. You know, as soon as I was told, as we were told, it was with clarity that it was terminal, and I had never really thought about that. I thought of it as an old person's disease, and that's what happens when you get older. So in our face, terminal, Linda at 56, okay, we've got a new direction in life to live here.
Got a new direction, yeah.
That's right. So a little bit about each. Linda, I understand you were a skier, that you had a pilot's license in your early 20s. You managed your own real estate business in Vancouver and Kamloops. So you're pretty smart, pretty active.
Oh, I was, yeah. At least I thought so. But.
And Paul, being a UBC engineer, worked and traveled around the world. How has this changed your lives?
Well, for Linda, I think, Linda, for you, you're a pretty independent person, and that independence has completely gone away now.
Yeah, and for me, the hardest part is, I was always very social, and so for me now, we still get out every now and then. Paul takes me to the pub every now and then.
We go for dinner with our families. Every outing is it's kind of stressful. It stresses Linda.
And because I can't remember names. I remember faces, but I can't remember names. And even family, like some of the family, like I can't, because we've got a lot of nieces and nephews now, and they're all having babies, and so for me it was just kind of like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah, so we've had to adjust the kind of outdoor activities, the nature and exploring. We just change how we think about it is what we do.
But I have a really good friend. I think you guys probably heard at the legislature. My really good friend Doug Balesha takes me out flying every now and then.
Oh, we could probably carry on a great conversation about that. I want to know a little bit more of how you made connection with the Alzheimer's Society of BC.
Well, in this very first week of me finding out, and Linda and I finding out, I put it out to a couple of friends, and we had neighbors where we lived. Several of them are doctors in the area we lived in, and
yeah.
It's a small town here in Kamloops, and we're quite active in the community, and we knew all of our neighbors well, and we know a number of people. Linda was in real estate here; she knew a ton of people.
I sold half of them their homes.
So, as soon as the diagnosis was made, of course, the doctors told their friends of doctors because they knew they lived across the street from us, and through those friendships, one of the friends called us and said, "You need to go and talk to Tara at BC Alzheimer's Society immediately." And I said, "Oh, okay, they have an office here." I didn't really even know what they did, but it was through that friendship. And actually, this person, he wasn't a doctor, but he's part of the neighborhood. He worked for the Investors Group, who is a huge supporter of the Walk for Memory. So as soon as he heard that, he had us, "You guys get up and get on the phone," and I did that. And that was in week one, and it was such a blessing to have those resources there, Tara there, and Mark. They were able to
absolutely awesome.
carefully
lead us through and educate us and give us information.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about education, a little bit of hand-holding too, because it's an incredible journey that you're on now. So tell me, we'll fast forward a little bit with your association with the Alzheimer's Society of BC, and tell us about this trip that you made to the legislature.
Oh, it was fun. I hope that I made a difference. I don't know whether I did or not, but I hope that they got the message, and I hope that they give you guys some money.
Did you actually have to get up and speak, Linda, and make a major presentation?
Yeah, I did.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I told them about my past, like that, that I had my pilot's license, and that, I can't cook anymore because I've got Alzheimer's. And then I said, you'll see Todd and Terry laughing because they know that Paul's always been the chef in our family. And I told them about, I had got my pilot's license, and we used to fly down to the Reno air races. And we'd flip a coin, and whoever lost the coin toss couldn't drink and had to fly home. Guess who lost the coin toss every year?
Yeah.
So so I love watching Top Gun because the actual pilot who dies, who flies as Goose, was really Art Scholl, and he was the winner of the Reno Air Race the year we were there. So I love watching Top Gun.
Yeah, so Linda was sharing some of these stories of her past, and we really wanted just to connect with the people there because we're just normal people.
Yeah.
And Linda's Linda, and she's got her stories, and she remembers many of the older stories, and of course we went there because we wanted to help make a difference. We've been associated with the BC Alzheimer's Society since the moment I picked up the phone and called. We've been strong supporters because in this path we're on, if we can help others understand and help money be created and help awareness, it's a little bit of our time, and I know it all helps. It all adds up. So that was kind of why we did it, and the legislature was just an opportunity to connect at a different level in BC. I mean, it's at the provincial government level, and that's where the money is set aside and created, and that's where things happen. The good news is we have great friends here, Terry Lake and Todd Stone. Todd was my business partner for many years, and Terry's been a friend of ours. And so they happen to be influential people in the right places. So I'm not saying that they're pulling strings for us, but it certainly...
They can make a difference.
They can make a difference because they can help the story to be told. And so that's part of the reason why we wanted to be there and show up and have that personal connection hopefully help and convey that story to the rest of them there.
So, Maria, how important was it for them to be there?
It was extremely important because I think people understand the impact of Alzheimer's when they meet people who are living the journey. I think the other wonderful thing about going to the Legislative Assembly is that it speaks very loudly that this is just not a health issue. This is just not a concern of the Ministry of Health. It's a concern of all aspects of our provincial government. It touches on transportation, it touches on education, it touches upon urban planning. And so the beauty of bringing all those individuals together who are responsible for those areas of our province and joining with Linda and Paul was to say this is an area that we all need to be concerned about, and we all need to reach out to many different places to make a difference.
So, Linda and Paul, how were you received? Do you think they heard your story?
Well, you know, I know that many of them did. We were, several of them came up to us afterwards and thanked both Linda and me for speaking out and for being out there. And so I know we touched more people. I know that. And I liken this to in my business world, one of the business books speaks about a flywheel effect. And to get your business going, you got to get the right message and the right people, and you just start working on this flywheel, and you add more people to it, and it slowly builds. And that's what it is. One person at a time, conversation after conversation, awareness, and it becomes a bigger thing through that work. And I know that was part of that happened on a trip there. It happens with every time we touch anybody.
Linda and Paul, we thank you both for your contribution. Maria, anything else that you can add to this? And
I think, again, it's just really amazing when families like Linda and Paul come forward and share their story. We know there are so many families who are living with Alzheimer's who do not feel comfortable to speak up, and then they don't get the help and the support that they so really need. And so we hope by having, working with Paul and Linda and sharing their stories, others will feel comfortable to reach out to the Society for help and reach out and get the support that is so essential.
And Linda and Paul, your hopes for the future?
Well, the BC Alzheimer's Society is venturing on a dementia-friendly communities initiative, and this is a part of their further educating and working with cities, municipalities to educate them.
Yeah.
My business here, where I work, we deal with municipalities. They are prime customers. And so I'm doing what I can here in Kamloops and with overall in BC to help raise awareness at the local government level, which is where it really needs to happen as well, because there's a lot of people in these communities that have this disease, and so few people that know how to deal with them and work with them and to make it easier. So that's another area that I know that they're working on, and I'm looking forward to helping with that as well.
Excellent. I guess the bottom line is here. It's every ounce of effort that you've put into this is making a difference, and you're not alone.
That's right, and thank you. I don't feel alone, and the great thing about the BC Alzheimer's Society is they are so focused. It's great every time I hear that there's more money being provided because it's necessary. Yeah. It needs to be continued and to be grown upon. And thanks, Maria, for all the work you do. I know you're out there all the time.
Yeah, Maria. Thanks for giving me my life back, sweetie.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
You've been listening to Boomer Life. I'm Joanne Sutton. Our guests today on the phone were Linda and Paul Blanchette from Kamloops. Linda diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's at the age of 56. Also joining us today has been the Alzheimer's Society of BC CEO Maria Howard. You can get more information about the Alzheimer's Society online on their website, alzheimerbc.org. Now, don't go away. We're talking about creating dementia-friendly communities next, and more specifically, what's happening in New Westminster for starters. That's next on Boomer Life on CL 650.
Canada's only weekly radio show dedicated to the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.